kind of disappoints me that, he is still betting on baseball. If you're wanting to fix your reputation and get back into baseball, that's not the way to do it.
One of the things that he's always said is he never bet for the Reds to lose. It came to light that indeed he did bet on the Reds to lose. To me, that sealed his fate. I can understand if he bet on them to win. He might have got reinstated. Probably not. We would never know. But I think that's pretty low for a person to do, especially when he was managing then. He could affect the outcome of that game to the point to where he could leave the pitcher in too long. He could take him out early. He could affect that game.
Yes.
And to me, I think that's what the commissioner's seen as tarnishing the game. Because, we got people saying, what about MLB's thing with DraftKings, the fantasy stuff? That's no different. That's a little bit different than this issue. Right. That is way different, in my opinion, than this issue. It's just, he let a lot of people down, in my opinion, that just don't understand what kind of damage he done. As a player, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame. As a player.
Yes, as a player.
And, see, this is where, I don't know, how to view, should MLB and the Hall of Fame be two separate things? Personally, I think it should be two separate things. Because it is two separate things, and when Pete Rose was up for re-election, they made the rule 1 year before saying that no person on the apparently ineligible list can be allowed into the Hall of Fame. I think they made that rule just for Pete Rose, and I think that they damaged their reputation as well, because I don't know, it's a confusing subject, and as well as I do, we're both from the Cincinnati area. People love Pete Rose in the Cincinnati area.
Yes.
Once you get outside the Cincinnati area, it's a whole different ballgame, it seems like. It's like people's against Pete. He committed the cardinal sin of betting against baseball. I mean, it says it right there in the clubhouse. You still see it today in the clubhouse. I see it as a reporter. Every time I walk into the locker room, there's the rule saying you should not bet on baseball. I can't tell you the whole rule, but it's there. What is your thoughts on this? Do you agree with the commissioner's statements? You read the report. I gave it to you, and we talked about it before we went on air. What's your thoughts on this?
I think that he, as far as like I said earlier, he knew that he was going to be up for possible reinstatement, and he should have not been betting on baseball. But as far as, what you were saying, the rule, I think that the rule is, it's important, but who knows the other players that are out there, or the other managers that are betting on baseball that haven't got caught. It's a fine line, and even if players have done something else, that even if they're a Hall of Fame player and they've done something else to tarnish their reputation, but they didn't bet on baseball, they were still measured by how they played the game. Pete Rose, I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame just for his ability to play the game and how well he did hit the ball. He deserves that.
I'm tired of defending him when he can't even defend himself. I brought this up to you. I mean, he knew, like I said earlier in the podcast, he knew that he would be meeting the commissioner soon enough for a reinstatement. Why would he still continue to bet on baseball?
Right.
To me, that's one, he's not changed his ways at all. To me, that's a little bit arrogant that he thinks maybe that he's above the game still. Because, I mean, he can kind of come across that in a way. Like, if you watch him, if you pay attention to things he says, I don't know. He had, my second opinion is, he had a chance and he blew it. And it comes to the fact he didn't change his ways. To me, that's the most important thing to look at when you're trying to reinstate somebody.
Yeah. It comes down to he did not learn his lesson. He sabotaged himself by continuing to bet on baseball. And, the simple thing is, if you want to correct a situation, you're going to stop doing what you did to get you in that situation.
It's just like, I was going to be probably a borderline alcohol addict when we first met. Luckily, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in over a year. That's a choice that I made to stop drinking. It's not that hard to make a choice to turn your life around.
Right.
I don't know if it's like, because I know most players like that has a very type A personality, where they think they don't need anybody else, they can do it all on their own. And I'm pretty sure that's what a type A personality is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. He probably decided, I don't need any help with this. I don't need to talk to anybody. And a lot of people think that they can handle it on their own, but he's gambled ever since he's been out of baseball. I mean, and he admits it. He talks about it candidly, and that he still bets.
My last thought on this is I simply don't care anymore if he gets reinstated or not. He shot himself in the foot with this later indictment against him. The new evidence. He can now live his life.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's the saddest story in all of sports, I think. Because here could have been a man that could be remembered for one of the greatest achievements. I mean, he's baseball's all-time hit leader, for crying out loud. I don't get why he keeps on shooting himself after getting chance after chance after chance to turning it around.
Right. I agree with you. He just keeps doing the same thing over again. And he could have changed it. If he had quit betting in baseball, it's possible that he could have been reinstated, but possibly not.
We're moving on to our last topic of the episode. It's been a tough few weeks for Reds fans. I mean, the Chapman report came out, and then we learned that Todd Frazier got traded to the White Sox for 3 prospects from the Dodgers in a three-way team trade that sent, like I said, Frazier to the White Sox. The Dodgers got 3 prospects from the White Sox, and then the Reds got 3 prospects from the Dodgers. I know Todd Frazier was one of your players. What was your first reaction to this?
I was mad. I was actually in my classroom when I found out, and I gasped, and one of the students looked up, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, the Reds traded my favorite player." I was upset. I really liked watching Todd play. I loved watching him in the home run derby. I was so excited when he won. That was a great night. I'm just sad that he will be gone. He was a fan favorite. And I think the reason why he is a fan favorite is because he is so down to earth and he's so nice when you talk to him. He's so personable, and, for us, I know he holds a special place in my mind because of what he did for us on our wedding day, which was really special to me, and that he took time out of practice to take that photograph for us, which was really special.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I hated that they had to trade Frazier, but I understand baseball is also a business.
Right.
And that they had to do it since they couldn't get rid of Chapman. I have a feeling if they could have traded Chapman, then they probably would have tried to keep Frazier, but they would have had to move a few other players to keep Frazier. Yeah. But since they couldn't keep Chapman, everybody is on deck. I mean, I think it was said earlier in the hot stove season that everyone on the team could possibly be traded.
Right.
And the Todd Frazier trade showed me that the Reds are serious about rebuilding and not just trying to band-aid things together.
Right.
2016 and probably 2017 will be tough years to be Reds fans. Let's face it, they're not going to be good over 2 years. And to the fans that say, I'm not going to a game again, shame on you. You probably came around 2010 when they was winning. You're not used to being around when we had some horrible teams. Me, personally, I started watching them in 98, 99, somewhere around there. We had one winning season up until 2010, besides 1999.
I can remember watching baseball when I was a little kid and listening to it in the summers, and we always watched the Reds. I grew up watching the Reds and watching Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and all those players. I love the Reds. I love the team. I get frustrated with some of the management sometimes, just like all fans do. I understand that it is a business. However, I am allowed as a fan that grieving time for my favorite player getting traded.
I understand where you're coming from, the grieving time, but to say you're not going to another game, I think that's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
I agree. I wouldn't say that. I love going to baseball games. I don't care what team it is.
It just, I don't know, I guess it's just in today's society where we just want a reaction from somebody. And you cannot please everybody. Right. I mean, these was probably the same fans as probably saying, blow the team up. Well, to do that, you have to get rid of your star players.
Right, and then they get mad when you get rid of them.
Exactly. So it's a lose-lose situation for the Reds.
Yeah. I understand it's business, but I'm still sad. Would I have loved to have seen him stay? Yeah. He even said that himself. When he was asked the question at Reds Fest, he said, I would love to stay in Cincinnati for my whole career. They loved it here. But he also said he understands that if he does, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the business of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's just, it's sad that the Reds got to this point to having to trade a very, 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 very fan favorite. I mean, right. He was possibly the face of the franchise after winning the home run derby.
Yes.
Heck, even before that, I would say probably last year he started to become the face of the franchise.
Yes.
They still got my support. I don't get why people will say they'll never go to another Reds game. You support your team in good times and bad times. And the next 2 years is going to be tough. going to the ballpark.